that game's really annoyed me, probably more than it should have done, truth be known. I know it was a close game and everyone's going on, but I say everyone, mostly Glenn Hoddle and whoever was doing the commentary with on BT was saying, well, how entertaining it was, and I guess for the neutral, but I'm not neutral and neither are you, so it wasn't very good, really, was it? I just hated the way we played on that one, and I know there's probably things that I should be pleased about, but I found it really, really hard to find many positives from that game at all. I thought that scoreline really flattered us. So I do apologise, so if there's, this is not going to be a particularly upbeat review of the game. So if you're easily irked, then I would suggest switching off now, quite frankly, because I'm going to find it really hard to be positive after that. It's not doom and gloom, by the way. I think we're probably not getting relegated, but I hated the way that we played, even though it does appear that we seem to have our set piece mojo back. But there were too many big players who didn't perform in that game, and quite frankly, I think the reason I'm annoyed about it is Crystal Palace they were the better team. They deserved to win. The scoreline flattered us, to say, but they were faster and more skillful and more energetic and tactically better. Apart from at set pieces, where we were tactically better and better at delivering them, and that was a worry. But we couldn't really. I thought there might be a situation there where they dominated down the flanks, which they did, but we might be able to dominate in midfield. We didn't. We were completely and utterly overrun. And I know I'm like a scratch record with the pace in the team, but it really annoys me. It really, really annoys me. We are so significantly slower than some teams, and whenever we play these teams, be it like Newcastle, not just Newcastle now, but Newcastle, Almiron, for instance, and Sam Maximin, before they got the money, always torn us to bits. Players like that. Watford, we played Watford a season or two ago. They tore us to bits when we played Brentford, and they had all their pacey players out. These teams tear us apart. They really do. And I can't be sick of watching it because I think sometimes it's easily rectified by buying a couple of quick players here and there. Anyway, let's get on to the game. I'll know more about it tomorrow, I'm quite sure. Anyway. Let's have a look. Okay, so we went 1-0 ahead. Good, right? So that was a corner, and we did do our corners really, really well. As a mistake from Elise, who was going to go and make up for his mistake, by the way. And a corner came over. He headed it into a dangerous area for West Ham, and Soucek finished really, really well with his left foot. And might not hit a better left foot strike than that. Soucek was very good. But they equalised really, really quickly afterwards, and it was Elise. Basically, this was a dodgy old goal, really. Elise is so good, and that's no surprise. It's no surprise at all. But he drew 3 players into him, and they were all sort of ball watching. Ayew exploited the space, got the run on Zuma. Don't worry, Zuma didn't have to worry too much about it for too long. And they scored a goal, and it was 1-0. All this happened very, very quickly. Zuma got injured. This is all before the 20-minute mark. Zuma was injured. What can I say? I'll deal with this more tomorrow because just Moyes is running the players into the ground. Anyway, let's just deal with the game to hand. Zuma got injured. After that, it was I've got my notes here. If you want, I'm looking down. Obviously there were so many bloody goals. I've had to make notes. Quite right too. 2-1. That was Wilfred Zaha. It was poor play by Emerson. Probably was a handball. Truth be known, but I mean Emerson was given the runaround by Elise in a big way. Anyway, Agurd sort of miskicked it. My goodness, he had a bad game. I know he scored a goal, but I mean Agurd had a bad game. Agurd sort of miskicked it. The ball came over. The ball should never have come over because Emerson probably should have dealt with it. When it did, Agurd miskicked it basically, and I think that sort of threw the goalkeeper off, and it threw Soufal off. Soufal, was getting a little bit of criticism in the commentary, but I think everybody thought that Agurd was going to clear it, and he basically miskicked it, totally scuffed it, barely made any contact with it at all. Zaha scored. They were rampant, Crystal Palace, absolutely rampant, just everywhere. Zaha, Eze, Elise, Schlupp. This was no surprise, to be honest with you, because they have this about them. They're fast and they're skillful. And I think the reason I'm so annoyed is it's because they were the far skillful team. You know, you had an attacking team against a defensive team who tried to win the game in set plays. And you know what? We nearly got a draw, by the way, with the set plays. So you can't be overly critical about it, I guess, because I guess it nearly worked. But it's honestly, they were swarming us. This is why I say I don't think it's the scoreline's reflective. Palace were just swarming us. I'd be embarrassed if I was. I mean, anyway, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to go into it. I'm leaving. I'm trying to play it straight on this one. I was about to start talking about Hodgson and Moyes. Anyway, forget it. We'll leave it there. 3-1 Palace. Schlupp. Soucek gave the ball away. Really clumsy. Bad play from Soucek. That being said, Agurd probably shouldn't have passed it to him there. A lot of other players, it's fine. We say Lanzini. Lanzini is always saying, when Lanzini plays, pass the ball to me. I don't care if I'm marked. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to give the ball away. I'm always mentioning that with Lanzini. Paqueta does the same. Rice does the same as well. There are a number of players in the West Ham team you can probably give it to them when they're marked. Soucek's not one of them. He's too clumsy. He's too... Well, he's big and clumsy and he just couldn't move his feet quickly enough. But I've got to say, I'm not just Soucek for that. Crystal Palace made almost all of our players look clumsy, really, really slow, ponderous. It's easy. As you'll know, if you're a regular watcher of this channel, I've suspected the last 2 or 3 games that David Moyes is overplaying the players, playing them too much, not resting, not rotating enough. But I don't think it was. I think it'd be easy for me to say that. We will, as I say, we'll deal with all that stuff a little bit tomorrow. But I do feel that this was just more. Even had been fit, I just think they were faster, sharper players. These are the players that they buy, and we don't. So there we go. Anyway, so 3-1. That was Schlupp. It took back to 3-2. It was another corner. Antonio got the header. Great corner. Flick on from Soucek. Well done. I mean, he was a menace, absolute menace in the air. Soucek in this game, he really was. He was a dominant player in the air in this game, and I think, unfortunately, that's not enough because we've dominated one thing, and that was it. Aerially, we dominated. But that's not enough. You can't just one thing, because there's lots of things, isn't there? There's not just heading in football. There's heading, there's dribbling, there's running, there's passing, there's tackling, there's loads of other things. And actually, we lost out in every other bloody area. So just winning one niche facet of the football match is not going to be enough. Really good header, though, from Soucek. And Antonio read it well. And did well. I mean, Antonio was a frustrated figure all game. I don't overly blame him. He's been overplayed. He's been played too much. Anderson was bullying him, and aside from the goal, I thought he was easily handled. Really, we couldn't because we had no control in midfield or wide. We had no supply line, so everything was so fragmented. We were constantly scrapping and running backwards to deal with the fact that the Palace were basically breaking on us so much. We just never had any control. We had no... Here's the point. If you haven't seen that game, our 3 goals come from set pieces. We had no control of that game at all. Not at any point were we in control. Crystal Palace had control. I think that's why I'm annoyed. We went to 4-2. That was Eze as a penalty. I thought Agurd was unlucky, to be honest with you. He barely touched him. I mean, that is... And I'm not blaming it. I think we deserve to lose. And I think we deserve to lose by more. I'm not making this an excuse for our loss. I'm just saying on this one, it is a contact sport. That was no penalty. Otherwise, I mean, there would have been no. He just put his arm. He didn't pull him. He didn't do anything. There was no force at all. There was nothing there. I mean, it shouldn't really have been a goal. Shouldn't have been a penalty. Eze dispatched the penalty, as I'm sure everybody expected him to, because he played so well during the game. We brought it back to 4-3. It was another corner, another Soucek flick on, and this time it was Agurd. I'm pretty sure it was Agurd. It was all close and a little bit scrappy. Some people didn't know it was no own goal, whether it was Antonio. I'm pretty sure it was Agurd, and I sort of was pleased for him a little bit in that because it was so bad, and he'd lost it. By the end, he was... I don't know what he was doing over in the corner. I don't know who he was scrapping with, one of the Crystal Palace players. I don't know. Possibly it was Io. Who knows? I don't know who it was. Quite frankly, it might have been Schlupp. Whatever. He'd lost it. I thought he was lucky not to get sent off, by the way, because I do think he kicked the guy. He definitely lashed out and kicked him. And you just can't do that sort of stuff, really. So, really, really bad day at the office for Agurd. I mean, if you want to know any more, myself and Gio will be doing our player ratings and discussing people. On an individual basis, I think it's very, very hard in that game to praise anyone for West Ham other than Tomas Soucek. You've got to make a really good case. Maybe Bowen. Good deliveries from corners, Bowen. But I mean, that was it. It wasn't overly involved in the game. I guess Soufal stood up to the Zaha test more than... I mean, but Zaha still got the better of Soufal loads and loads of times. But maybe, just maybe, he was better handled than Elise was, who was the dominant player in the game, as far as I could see. There you go. Anyway, it's not easy. I don't think it's easy. I think had it been 4-3 and it had been a closer game and we'd had really good passages of play, then I think I might feel a little bit less miserable. But I felt like we stole, it was very much a brief, because they were corners, very much a brief period. And we had to earn those corners, don't get me wrong. We had to have, force them into defensive errors and whatnot so as they could concede the corner or whatever the case may be, blocks or whatever. But they felt like little brief excursions into opposition territory, as it were. In the main, it was just... I mean, some of their football, Palace, was excellent. I don't want to demean by what they were doing by just saying they were just quick. They were quick. They were faster in every department, but that was still in their football. They were thinking quicker. Their brains were faster. It was, little one-touch move, little triangles, some really, really nice football from them, really. And I think there's been times recently when we looked like we were building up to that kind of football, but I just think the players have been rinsed. I really do. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about it because I'm at far more than the result. I'm actually far more annoyed at the moment. I'm sure you've probably guessed what I'm annoyed about. Just if you've watched the last 12 minutes of this video, you probably guessed what has really, really annoyed me. And I'll deal with that more tomorrow because I'm fuming about it, actually. So anyway, just in case you haven't seen the game, that was my little review, my little cheeky little review of the game. I'll be back tomorrow, and at least it's the early kick-off. You know what? At least I guess we get it out of the way. Forget all about it. Go out and sort of do something else. Try and forget about West Ham for the remainder of the weekend. It's not all doom and gloom, but yeah, it was a hard watch. Was it just me? Did you find it a hard watch? Am I being too negative? Didn't enjoy it at all. Did not enjoy it at all. Apart from when I went one up, I was enjoying that. But I think everything else had a very... It felt like it was coming, do you know what I mean? It felt... I never at any point did I feel, apart from when we scored the first goal, but even that was against the run of play, I never really felt we were winning that game. The best team certainly won it. Anyway, there you go. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to me whining. I feel a bit better now for getting off my chest. You probably don't if you listen to me whining, so maybe you have a little whine yourself or write something in the comments. There you go. That might make... It's cathartic, therapeutic, isn't it? Get it all out. Get it all out in the comments. Spill the beans. Or forget all about it. Go out, go and have something to eat. It's actually a nice day. Actually, it was. When I came here and started recording it was a nice day. Now the black clouds have started coming over. Strangely symbolic.